She on her way from the airport, but I ain't finna wait for her.
From the airport.
Time is it? Ms. Clerk, you ready?
7:31.
Good evening. I would like to call our regular board meeting to order at 7:31. We're located in the Village of Broadview Municipal Building, 2350 South 25th Avenue. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham,
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalavi is absent. Trustee Senior is absent. Mayor Thompson,
Here.
Trustee Shelby,
Here.
Trustee Armour is absent. Trustee Miller.
Here.
All right, Mayor, we have a quorum. Everyone, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Can we all pause for a moment of silence? Thank you. At this time, I'd like to read the Pledge of Civility. In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understand that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. Okay, Madam President, next is public comments. I have this one.
Thank you. Ms. Barbara Morgan.
Good evening.
Is the mic on?
Good evening, Mayor. I have several things. First of all, the last meeting I went to, I noticed that we no longer get a written police report, nor do we get a written fire department report, nor do we get the financial issues which come up to that big total that we see every time. And I was just wondering, is that a paperwork thing that we're not, is that a reason why we're not getting them any longer? Because I've found them to be very interesting. And then I also have a question about, there's a fire plug in front of my house, and there's no yellow paint on the curb, and I'm wondering why. So those are my two questions.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Mr. Clerk?
Okay, thank you. That concludes public comments. Next is communications, item 3. I have a couple. First off, on October 7th, 2023, in Westchester at Mayfair Park, we'll have our 4th annual Tour de Proviso. Again, this is Saturday, October the 7th, at Mayfair Park, which is located at 10835 Wakefield Street. Check-in is at 7:30 a.m. The ride kicks off at 8 a.m., and at 9:30 a.m., we'll have a community expo. Broadview residents, if you haven't already registered, please register. I have a QR code you can scan, and if you do it tomorrow, you'll probably get a free T-shirt if they have T-shirts left, and we'd like to see you out there. Next. On October 4th, 2023 at 7 p.m., there will be a Clean Channel Outdoor will appear before the Village of Broadview Zoning Board. They're requesting a special use to allow for an electric sign pursuant to Title 10, Chapter 9, Section 16, and Title 10, Chapter 4, Section 6. This notice has been properly posted according to state statute. And again, this is October 4th, 2023, 7 p.m. Lastly, Broadview Seniors. Broadview Seniors usually meet at 11 a.m. Schroeder Park on Fridays. The mayor has invited them to meet right here at Village Hall. Again, Fridays at 11 o'clock. If you have a senior or you know a senior in the area that would like to come out and play bingo, bikino, eat food, and do various activities, have them come on out to the Village Hall Friday, 11 a.m. And that concludes communications, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next, item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the September 18th, 2023 regular board meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Senior, seconded by trustee Abraham, and please let the record reflect that 7:34 trustee Senior arrived to the meeting.
Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalabi? Oh, absent. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour? Do you have any questions about the minutes?
I just got the minutes this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to review them, so I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Miller?
Oh, okay, I was just about to say, I didn't see them in the board packet, but if they just came out, I didn't look for them. No questions.
Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, before I do that, also want to make note for the record that trustee Armour arrived at 7:34. Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalabi is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
No.
Trustee Miller.
Abstain.
And this carries 3-0. Thank you all. Next, item 5, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $270,981.68 for the period ending September 26, 2023.
Motion to approve. Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Senior, seconded by trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby, the finance chairwoman, will you please read the warrant list?
Okay, yes, this is the warrant list of September the 26th, 2023. The vendors are B&F Construction Code Services, $17,412.46. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, $146,609.49. Comcast Business, $3,869.77. College of DuPage, $4,696. Delgado Law Group LLC, $5,313.75. Fire Service Incorporated, $9,820.04. Lincoln National Life Insurance, $6,097.32. Midwest Mechanical, $3,910. Midwest Paving Equipment Incorporated, $42,270. And RJN Group Incorporated, $6,305. The total of expenditures over $2,500 came to $246,303.83, which is 91% of our total expenditures in the amount of $270,981.68. We also had a manual payment, and the vendors was Maywood Fine Arts. The date was September the 19th, 2023. Check number 85166 in the amount of $500. Okay, the accounts that were affected by these expenditures was the general fund and the amount of $219,529.48. We had the garbage fund in the amount of $1,750. The motor fuel tax fund in the amount of $1,127.20. And we had the capital projects fund in the amount of $42,270, and the water and sewage fund in the amount of $6,305, again for a grand total of $270,981.68. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby. Trustee Miller, you have any questions?
There's a vendor, RJN Group, and it says dye flooding. What's dye flooding?
Say that again?
This was dye hooding, was for Public Works.
It says dye flooding, so what's dye flooding?
Director Ames?
Dye hooding.
It says flooding. I'm looking at it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dye flooding was for part of our requirement with number WRD. So we did a part of the harvest area, which is east of the mall, north of Cermak Road, and south of the railroad tracks. What they want to do is make sure that there's not a lot of infiltration into the storm system from the sanitary. So they make sure that that separated system over there is operating separately. And if in fact this test indicate anything otherwise, then we do point repairs and some other mitigating things. So
Okay, how long does it take to get the results back?
we've gotten back.
Okay, I'll text you or email you. Thank you. That was it.
Thank you, Trustee Arnold.
Thank you, Director Ames. I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby.
No questions?
Thank you, Trustee Senior.
No questions.
Thank you, Trustee Abraham.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes?
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
And Madam President, that carries 5-0. Thank you all. Next, item 6, presentations. We have none this evening. Item 7, committee reports. These are all given at the first meeting of the month, starting with the Business License Committee, Trustee Armour.
No report.
Thank you, Trustee. Next is Police and Fire, Trustee Miller.
I don't have a report, just confirming with the mayor, I received her email in regards to our next search. Hopefully, we can get that underway for our fire chief, or stick with what we have, but just confirming that I did receive it. I think I sent the response back. Hopefully you got it, but if not, just know that we're working on that process so that we won't continue having an interim. And that's it.
Thank you, Trustee. Next is the Finance Committee, Trustee Shelby.
Nothing to report, no more. We had our Finance Committee meeting on September the 13th in reference to our 2021 financial audit, and that's about it, or nothing else.
Thank you, Trustee. Next is Building and Public Property, Trustee Chamalave, who's absent. Does anyone have anything in her stead? None?
No.
Okay, great, thank you. Next, Water, Drainage, and Health, Trustee Senior.
No report at this time.
Thank you, Trustee. Next is Street, Sidewalks, and Alleys, Trustee Abraham.
No report.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, item 8, Old Business, we have none. Item 9, New Business. A resolution authorizing and approving the collective bargaining agreement with the Broadview Professional Firefighters Union, IAFF, AFFI, Local 5129, for the firefighters and firefighter paramedics bargaining unit with the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Thank you. So I will report out on this, and I'm going to ask Administrator Jones to speak on this. So thank you, Chief Martin. So I will say, as we go through collective bargaining units, I am extremely proud of the fire department. When we come to these negotiations, they come with an open mind. And out of these negotiations, it came out that we were able to create a task force for mental health for village-wide, not just for the fire department, but for all departments. And so that's a testament to the leadership that we have in the fire department and the leadership that we have that's on the administration side. So Chief Martin and Ms. Jones, our administrator, that went into these negotiations on my behalf to say these are the things that I'm looking for as we move the village forward. So I want to say thank you to the fire team on, being open and negotiating fairly in this collective bargaining unit for 2023, 2024, and 2025. They have negotiated for wages, because economics is the biggest part of our negotiations. Everything else is just kind of just departmental and just trying to be fair to all of the employees that's within the fire department, but they negotiated a 3.5 salary increase over 23, 24, and 25. So the next time we come back for negotiations will be in 2025 as we revisit. But this allows us to give us an opportunity to look at our financial status and how we move forward. What makes me extremely proud that we can go to the negotiating table and negotiate fairly on both sides, because one thing that I've learned being in this role, that fire and police just want what they want, and they don't care how we look at our tax dollars. They just want what they want, everything. And we have to be fair and considerate to all employees that's within the Village of Broadview. It's not just about two key departments, but it's all employees that work within the Village of Broadview. So we have to negotiate with integrity. We have to negotiate fair for all employees. And so negotiating with the fire department, we're very transparent with our financials. So we allowed them to, ask the hard questions, and we came back with what it is that we can afford. And we let them look at the numbers, and we gave them the numbers as it relates to village-wide. But when we negotiating with other departments, they don't ask that. So it was a very transparent conversation. Out of one bargaining unit, they asked for me to show up at some bargaining negotiations that they have. I do stop in, I do give input on what that look like and what my perspective is when I'm looking at the leadership on this board on what we will be looking for to be fair with the Village of Broadview and the taxpayers that pay taxes here. So although we will want to give them everything that we could, what they would ask for, we're just not in a financial position to do that. When we look at what we pay out in pension for a fire, it's almost Tom, like 3.2 million? So $2 million just in pension. And so we have to look at the overall picture. It's not just the economics. We all want to take home more pay, but we have to look at benefits. We have to look at pension. And when I walked into this situation, we was already behind on pension. So just trying to pay what it is that the pension actuaries ask us to do. And I made a commitment to fire and police. As long as I'm sitting in the seat, I will always pay the maximum in the pension. And I've been true to that statement ever since I've been here. We've been paying the maximum. We have never paid the minimum in pensions so that we can catch up to be current with the pension payments that was behind way before I got here. So when we look at that, we look at they want to be paid to go back to school. They want to be paid for their uniforms. They want to be paid for everything that they do in the Village of Broadview for us. But we respect them because they do have a hard job. They have to deal with a lot of traumatic type things that they have to take back home to their families. And so we have to have consideration on how we look at their mental health as well, too. But we also have to have we have a fiduciary responsibility as elected officials to look at our bottom lines. So, Ms. Jones, is there anything you want to add?
Before you guys do that, did we put a motion on the floor?
Yeah, let's do that, please. Can I have a motion in a second?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Armour. Okay, Madam President, your floor.
Ms. Jones, is there anything you want to add?
I just want to publicly tell the fire department, I do appreciate you working with us. And it has been a transparent, it was tough, but it has been transparent. I appreciate you standing strong on what you feel was right for the fire department. And like the mayor said, out of that, we got a mental health task force. We actually look at what is best for Broadview when you're talking about our community as a whole. And that was important. And I just want to thank publicly Firefighter Stevens again, just letting you know, thank you for bringing it to our attention, not only for the fire department, but also village-wide. I do appreciate you.
Chief Martin?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Mayor, this village board. I want to especially thank the village administrator, Jones. This was a true collaboration. As my first experience in the Village of Broadview doing this, it was a tremendous piece of work. It really was. And we were all able to come together. I don't have to regurgitate everything that was just said. It's all truth. And thank you to all that were a part of it. And I'm glad to see that we collaborated together and brought more out of it than just this document. There's more moving parts. So there's going to be more growth from that, and I'm extremely grateful for it. So thank you, everyone that was involved.
Thank you. And I do want to add this. When we got into COVID, and we was right at negotiations with Fire was the only collective bargaining unit that took a 0% that year out of all of the collective bargaining. The other collective bargaining units, we had to pay the percentage. So they didn't give us the consideration as we look at our finances. So that sends a huge message village-wide to the staff that work here, the consideration that the fire department had for the taxpayers. And so I want to publicly say, I thank you for that, because that allowed us to look at our finances a hard way, and you all took the position of taking a 0.0, I believe, was it 0.0?
011.
A 0.01%. They didn't even get a raise. Nobody in the Village of Broadview got raises but the police department. And they took us to arbitration for that. So for that, I want to publicly say thank you for, respecting our tax dollars. We honor and respect the work that you do in the town each and every day. I know it's a hard job, and you all have a family that you go home to every day, and sometimes you take that stress back home with you as you decompress from your shift. But I'm grateful for you all being here in the Village of Broadview. It's an attestament to your leadership and the respect that you have for all of us that live in the Village of Broadview, so thank you. Trustee Miller?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
Thank you guys so much for your collaborative spirit, and it's like for the fire and openings for negotiations with the unions, you guys were on it, and you got everything that you were asking for. And that's what we should do, catch it when it's open. It's time to really come to the table and talk. And so I commend you guys on that. Under section 25.1 wages, I'm just trying to understand what this is saying. So there's a column here that says current fiscal year 24, 25, and 26. These are the years that there will be some increases in pay, all right? And am I seeing where for 2024, the effective date is 5/1/23, which means that you put it in your 23-24 budget, right? And it will be realized in 2024, correct?
No, that's not correct. We are currently in the fiscal budget 23-24.
Okay, so the effective date is 5/1/23.
That's correct.
Okay. And the actual increase will be realized in 2024.
No, so trustee, we in fiscal year 2023, 2024. So the 5/1 effective date for this is going to 5/1/2023. So the monies that they would have collected as wages, we're gonna retro pay them to catch them up. So they'll get paid from May 1, 23 up until now, and their new wages kick in, once this is approved by the board.
Okay, well, okay, and so in 2023? Well, I know this
Yes.
is the fiscal year, 2023, 2024. But during the negotiations, the effective date, and I think that was the date 5/1, so our fiscal year ends May 30th.
April 30th.
April 30th, okay, April, and then that's May. And then fiscal year, that will be fiscal year 2023, 2024. And the raises will be realized in the same
Budget year
the same fiscal year.
that we approved the budget for, so this already been
It's the same
allocated.
thing, I think we're saying the same thing, actually, because fiscal year.
I don't know what you're saying, but
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand when
It's in the
the
budget for
effective
this
date is 5/1, that's fiscal year 2023,
That's
fiscal
correct.
2024. And the raise will also be realized in the same fiscal year because you planned it in your budget. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
well, you said we were saying the same thing. Are you understanding it correctly?
Well, it's experts in the room better than I am. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm understanding. I didn't know.
Yes, it's this fiscal year. Make
We
sure
were
it's
saying the
this
same thing.
fiscal
That was
year,
understood.
and we looked at what the fire department was budgeting for the fall.
Okay, so it's all planned in your budget, and you got everything that you were asking for when you were sitting around the negotiating table with the union. We got what we were asking for, and they got what they were asking for, so all's good, all's well. Excellent, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions. I'm glad we got it taken care of. Thank you, Tom, also making sure we had the money
Yeah.
to make this all work. So we're fine.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave, absent. Trustee Senior,
Yes.
Trustee Shelby,
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
and Madam President, this carries 5-0. Thank you. Next, item B, a resolution authorizing the village president to enter into a certain agreement with Image Trend LLC related to the use and terms thereof for certain software for the Broadview Fire Department related to patient information.
Motion to approve.
A second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Shelby, Madam President.
Thank you. Chief Martin, you want to tell us about this?
Yes, ma'am. This is a software agreement that the fire department has. We are changing collaboratively, again, all of the fire departments that operate under the licensure of Loyola Hospital have agreed collectively to change the software that we use to write our reports for EMS. So all of our medical emergencies that we go on, when we write a report, we use a software system to write our report. The current one that we have right now doesn't provide us with enough data and enough user friendliness that we need. So all of the EMS coordinators, ours is in the room, Firefighter Stevens, they all got together with Loyola Hospital and expressed and voiced their concerns. Loyola listened, and they decided to change that provider. In doing so, the new provider, Image Trend, had come up with a contract for Loyola, and in doing so, they send out a piggyback agreement to each department saying this is the agreement, this is the cost. We had a cost with Zoll as well. It was pretty comparable to this. So there's really no change here other than the name. And this is really just a part of our doing business. We have to have this as part of our licensure with Loyola. I will say, we did negotiate a rate decrease with them. So there was some back and forth. I was able to get a reduction in our annual escalation. So we were able to do that for Broadview. I didn't think it was right for them to just send out a base number. So I said, we're one of the smaller communities. We shouldn't have to pay the same amount that a larger community does. We're not home rule, and we don't have the same luxuries that some other communities do. So I think it's fair that we should have a different rate. So, and I don't think it's fair to put that on the taxpayers. So they agreed and, came down with the rate, and that was that. So this is where they were willing to be for us and for Broadview individually. So this is our part. Once we do this, then it goes to Loyola. Everybody is sending theirs in individually, and then we'll all collectively be again with Loyola with the same software. I hope I explained that well.
So the total cost for this is $4,182
For the 1 year, yes,
for
Mayor.
1 year, yes.
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
So once we enter, or if we enter into an agreement, the one-time fee is only for this year. The next year, we won't have the additional $900 fee.
No, the one-time fee of $900 is included in that is part of that 4182. Our recurring fee next year is going to be the $3,282.50.
And then I see they called out custom software development as an out of scope for $225 an hour. Under what premises would we need to have custom software? And would that come back before the board for approval before a decision is made? Or it's on page, it says 2 of 23 in the agreement.
You said page 2 of 23?
2 of 23.
Just make sure I'm referencing the right one.
2 of 23 of their agreement.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. Well, that's just for anything that's out of scope. We don't have any plans with our department to do anything that's out of scope with custom software development.
Okay.
We have no need for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
it would.
No, when we talked with them, and Firefighter Stevens, while you're here, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, because I know you were on a lot of these meetings too, and you were in the weeds on this. software that is going to be comparable to exactly what we had before. So there isn't going to be any out-of-scope customization that is going to be something that's completely different from anyone else. We're going to be within the same scope as everybody that's involved.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Armour?
Thank you for that, Chief. What about security and sharing our villages is the information for residents or, any business, how secure is the software with us tapping into all those different systems? How will that impact us, or is it secure? Is it secure?
Yes, it's all highly secure. Image Trent's been around for a long time. They've been in the EMS industry for quite some time. They utilize a highly secure network. Loyola's going to have their own security. Their software has their own embedded security in the software as well. Our users have custom passwords, and other things that, prevent all of that stuff from happening. So we do our due diligence in all of that to make sure that everything is completely secure. So our number one responsibility is to make sure that we're HIPAA compliant. So with that, that's law, we have to be. So we are always protecting patient privacy and all of our records and documentation. Again, another requirement, not only through HIPAA, but also with Loyola. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. Trustee Shelby?
I have no questions.
Trustee Senior?
I have no questions.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalabi is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 5-0. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Next. Item 10, application for the authority to expend funds in the amount of $42,770 for door systems at the fire department.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Senior, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
Thank you. The $42,770 is in the fire chief budget. Chief Martin, you want to tell us about it?
Yes, Mayor. So we did budget for this as part of our capital improvements. Again, to reiterate the same message that we had, this is in line with our energy efficiency upgrades with our firehouse as part of our infrastructure. So our firehouse garage doors are very old. They've been around, I can't find record of when they were put in, but our most senior member of the department's been here for 32 and a half years, and they were installed before he was hired. So they're at least 32 years old. I believe they're original. It's possible. So they're wood doors. They're single pane glass. They hold a lot of moisture. They're very heavy. They require a lot of maintenance, which in turn requires extra additional cost. They're not efficient with being single pane glass and not having good seals both on the sides, top and bottom. It's time. And while it's a daunting number, I am aware. Doing these four are going to be for our main east side doors that our emergency apparatus use the most. So these are going to be 4 high-speed doors. I did receive 3 quotes. This is a quote that includes a replacement of the operators that we currently have, along with the doors, plus all of the hardware. They are high-speed doors, so they open 24 inches per second. They come with MyQ technology. We're working to have timers and other technology put in so the doors close after we leave. We can use our, the phone on the apparatus to close the door remotely if for some reason they don't get closed. There's several things that are going to do, but the most important is that it's going to be significantly better for our energy efficiency inside the apparatus floor. So this is gonna cut down on half. We have another 4 doors in the back, but those don't get used as much. These 4 are gonna cut down significantly on our costs for HVAC over the long term. So the long-term goal here is to replace all of them. This is the start of that. So I hope I explained that well enough. This is a full, these operators and doors are a package. So, and I should also say, Door Systems came together with a promotional deal with this. They give us 35% off, and this is a public safety promotion from LiftMaster and Clopay, who is the door manufacturer, to showcase this style of door, this high-speed door, in the public safety sector. So LiftMaster donated operators 2 years ago. LiftMaster has agreed to replace those. They want to showcase these. So they've put that in here as well in the proposal, stating that they want to do that.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Miller?
I saw it's only a 1-year warranty.
I'm sorry, say again?
I see it's only a 1-year warranty for parts and labor. How flexible are they with increasing that warranty, like a year is?
Did you say how flexible are they? I'm sorry, I
Yes,
couldn't hear.
how flexible are they with increasing?
I could ask them how flexible they are in that. Door Systems is currently our contracted service provider. So we do have, we do currently use them right now for our door service. So given our long-term relationship, I'm sure they'd be open to something like that.
Okay, if you can check into that to find out.
I can ask them.
Just specifically because they called it out makes me a little leery with it, and considering it's $40,000. I mean, I bought a car for $50,000 and it came with a 5-year warranty. So I'm like, I know I don't use my car doors as much as you guys. We'll probably use those operating doors to move the trucks in and out.
Well, the doors should be 10-year.
With everything on this first page of their proposal says 1-year parts and labor warranty, and then 90-day labor for service and repairs, 1-year labor warranty for new equipment installations. I didn't see anything about a 10-year warranty.
In the spec sheet. 10-year on the paint, 5-year on DLAM, 5-year on the color, and then 1 year on material and workmanship, material parts and labor. So I can ask about that if we want to get that.
Yeah, that's my only call
Sure.
out for it.
Okay.
That's it, Trustee Miller?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Trustee Allen?
In addition to that, Chief, Acting Chief Matt, I was gonna ask, the doors that have been there for years and years and years, they need to be replaced. We're giving these guys an opportunity to give us more efficiency, and it's just gonna be good for the fire department all around. My question to you is, are all of the doors that are being replaced, can we salvage anything from them? And if Clopay would be willing to consider those materials that they're going to be moving out, because we're bringing them repeat business. Do you know what I mean? It's a long-standing thing. It's like, you know, once they put those doors up, we're gonna be, you know, that's business for them, because, you know, they're like Apple. Apple is Apple, everything is Apple, right? And so everything is Clopay. And so whatever we need for the doors, that's bringing in like repeat business for them, right? So that's 2 questions. So are the current doors, anything on those doors salvageable? And since Site Pay is, removing it, you know, can something be redeemed for those materials? Because that's good material, right? It just doesn't.
I don't think so. I don't think
coincide
so.
with
I don't think it's going to be salvageable. It's old wood and glass, single pane glass. I don't think it's anything that they're going to be willing to contribute to salvage,
Or consider, they won't.
given the age
Yeah,
and deterioration of the doors,
yeah.
the weathering of them, the layers of paint and, you know, the risk and all of that, I don't think that they would be willing.
Well, I was just curious if, you know, this is a great contract,
I can ask.
it really is. Could you ask?
I could ask.
And, yeah, and just let us know, you know, what else can, how can we reduce our expenses?
Okay.
And, thank you.
Sure.
That's it, trustee Armour?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No, and Chief Martin, thank you for answering all my questions prior to the meeting.
Sure.
Because I did have a question about the 4 new operator lift masters that was just placed last year. So with the new system, you have to switch over. But thank you, for providing me with that prior to this meeting.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Shelby. Trustee Senior?
Your explanation was precise, so I have no questions. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham?
I have to agree with trustee Senior. It was very detailed, especially when you said, what's the age of those doors? 32 years old?
Very, very,
Okay.
very old.
You know, it's a long time for them to last that long.
For garage doors.
Exactly.
For
And
garage doors.
For wear and tear, and how many times you guys gotta go out. So, for us to get these replaced, and these were the 4 immediate ones that were, okay.
Yeah,
It-
they've been-
It makes sense to me, Madam Mayor.
they've gotten
32
their-
years, These doors are being used, so
They've gotten their full use of life.
I would think so at 32 years. So, I'm good.
Thank you, trustee Abraham. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes,
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
And this carries, Madam President, 5-0. Thank you. Next, item
Thank you
11,
all.
Village Clerk Report. I have nothing. Item 12, Village President Mayor Katrina Thompson's report.
Thank you. So I do have a couple of things that I want to highlight. So fall is here, and you can pick up your leaf bags from Public Works during their office hours. So you get 10 free lawn bags to pick up for the lawns. I just want to share with you that the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency just approved a financial audit ending April 30th, 2023. I co-chaired that board with the village president of Westchester, Greg Riebel. And so just to give some highlights of how fiscal responsible we are in our 2 respective communities. The agency net position increased by $560,206 in 2023, ending our net position of $10,334,329. Operating revenues was $525,816 under budget. Total operating expenses was $4,810,210 under budget. The agency maintained $6,472,40 in cash and investments. This is just an attestment to the work that we do on the Broadview Westchester Water Agency. We are looking to put a 1 million gallon reservoir in the Village of Broadview, and so we have to go through all of these formalities before that take place. You can get the financial audit on the website of the Broadview Joint Water Agency website to see the financial and to see the report as it relates to the 1 million gallon reservoir. I just finished, I want to say congratulations to all of us in the Village of Broadview. We received the West Central Municipal Conference Green Intelligence Award, and this is for our leadership concerning our regional environment. This is for all of us, so this is like a prestigious award for the West Central Municipal Conference. So I'm super proud of the award that we did as it relates to all of the green initiatives that we are doing in the Village of Broadview. I just finished my term as the president of the West Central Municipal Conference, and that's representing 51 municipalities. I'm proud of the work that we do each and every day. I was the first African-American appointed to serve as president of the WCMC. I started the first environmental committee and was able to support the Village of Bellwood Mayor Andre Harvey in House Bill 1377. This is the Municipality Built Homes Initiative. So this is a House bill that we advocated for it during the legislative session with any community that's building any new residential homes within in Cook County, or it could be Broadview, Bellwood, Maywood, whatever, but if you're building a new home, the taxes is gonna increase because it's new development. And so we were able to do that to where it freezes the property taxes for those that's residing in that property until they can figure out the monthly payments so they don't get the surprise. So the Village of Bellwood built homes that was $400,000. Those have not made it to the tax roll yet. When they appear on the tax roll, their property taxes could be over $20,000 a year. And so this bill allows them to freeze that property tax for a period of 10 years as long as they stay in the home to give them some relief. So this is something that's needed in communities that's not landlocked, that's building new homes to build bigger homes. So it was a big deal for us. So I was happy to champion behind Mayor Harvey and the Village of Bellwood to get that done. I do want to say I appreciate the members of WCMC for allowing me to serve this year. It's been a journey, and it's been a lot of hard work. It took time away from things that I needed to do for Broadview because I'm serving other municipalities with initiatives and ideas and thoughts as we move forward with municipalities and the work that we do each and every day. So I don't take the position lightly. So this was my outgoing president award that they gave me, was this big gavel, just to show their appreciation. So I wanted to share that with the Village of Broadview as that we do a lot of good work in the Village of Broadview. We have good leadership in the Village of Broadview, and it's not just me, it's the men and women that show up to work every single day to keep us going that allows me to be able to go out and help someone else, but also build the brand of Broadview strong. So I want to say congratulations to all of you all for letting me do all of this type of work.
And it was announced on the news, ABC 7. I did see it on the news.
Oh, and it was on ABC News
Tracy Butler.
with Tracy Butler. So, but the environmental part of this is the part that's near and dear to my heart. I had a cousin that died at the age of 10 from asthma. And so I got into the space of work because we can create healthy homes. We can create a more sustainable environmental community if we all learn more about it. So I'm really working hard to educate our residents and our business stakeholders on what the environmental things that we can do to change the needle. We've become Soul Smart, a silver status Soul Smart community. That's with the solar paneling. We are doing composting. That's coming up soon, so get ready. Those that want to do composting, we'll be able to do composting. The fire chief and Commissioner Upshaw, and I know they get tired of me because it's a lot. It is a lot, and we are stretched very, very thin with the talent and the support that we have, but we are working on building codes and what that look like. We got a task force that's working on EV charging stations, so they had their meeting today as it relates to charging stations within our municipal lots and over at the Broadview shopping center. So it's a lot of work that go behind this, but it's not just me doing the work alone. It's working with men and women in the leadership that's on my administration team that's helping us push the agenda a little bit further on how we look at things and how we look at environmental issues. Most communities look at, public safety as being number one. And of course, we want to make sure that we have good policing, we have a good fire department, but see, we also have to look at environmental sustainability in our communities. It's just as important as public safety because the air you breathe, you can't see it. The water you drink, you can't see it. And those things are things that matter to keep us holistic in how we move forward. So I'm happy to take the lead on that, and I'm happy that we've received some recognition for it. I don't do the work alone. I do share the cross-community climate collaboration, and that's with the Village of Oak Park and the Village of River Forest. So those two communities, the two mayors, thank you. The two mayors in those two communities, we have received several awards even before this one. And we just started that, and that's with 14 other municipalities doing the same work that we do each and every day. Each and every day, so I'm excited about the work that's taking place. The Village of Broadview is thriving because of the residents and the business stakeholders taking pride in the community. And when you see, you could just look at Roosevelt Road. what's going on the Roosevelt Road corridor. When you drive through our neighborhoods, you can see people managing their properties much better, and we're holding them accountable. And so I asked the residents, if you're uncomfortable with calling the building department to put in a concern about a property that's next door to you, you can always call my office, and then I'll assign that to the building department to address. So we've seen people replace garages. We've seen people create awnings that was falling apart. We've seen no high grass, not on a regular, consistent. We are getting more complaints with people not keeping their backyards. We can't see the backyard, but the neighbors can. And so when we get those types of calls, we address it. We don't go on private property looking for things, but when residents allow us to come into their homes to look over the backyards, that's where we get the evidence from, and that's how we hold them accountable. If you're not keeping up your backyards, we are going to hold you accountable, because if your backyards is messy, guess what? The rodents fester in that. We get rats, mice, and all those types of things. And, you know, we want to be able to live in a decent, clean, healthy community. So it takes all of us to do the work. Even though you're looking at 6 women on this board, that's the eyes and ears to the community. But best believe the residents are starting to speak up more, and I'm really excited about that, because investors come into our community and they look to see how well kept we are. And if we're well kept, guess what they want to do? They want to invest. This right now, we are the hottest thing right now of getting people into businesses. On our industrial corridor is full. That said, that's an attestament to the leadership. Our commercial corridor, more businesses are coming online, and I'm sure on October 16, Commissioner Upshaw is going to give some highlights of that. But that's an attestment of the leadership and the work that we do every day on behalf of the Village of Broadview. Clerk McGreer did touch on October 7th. Tour Day Proviso will be held in the Village of Westchester. This was an initiative that was started out of COVID. I just posted on social media who want to ride bikes, and now we have pretty much close to almost 1,000 riders riding through our township, visiting our local township, our local villages. So this year it's held in the Village of Westchester. This gives us a way to create tourism, to give people an idea of what's in these municipalities that we may not be aware of. We just drive by. If we go into a restaurant, we're familiar with that. But we may not know about a retailer that may be an attraction to us. So that's given us an opportunity to recycle our dollars back into our township to make us whole and healthy. And so we moved the tour from different villages each year so that we can promote tourism and transportation. Out of the first tourism that we did in 2020, we were able to get a $2.9 million grant from IDOT for bike lanes, because in Broadview, we don't even have bike lanes. And we should be able to create a safe passageway for people to, especially on 25th, to get to the Forest Preserve to either walk or bike. And that creates an opportunity for those that walk to be able to have safe sidewalks to walk. So we are doing the work. We are applying for a lot of grants. We've been very blessed in the Village of Broadview. Since I started this administration, we've have secured almost $16 million in funding. And so that's an attestament to the work that we do every single day with the leadership that we have in place, that we're able to do more and utilize our tax dollars in making sure that we're able to sustain us to go to the next level. And so even though we have 8,000 residents, I don't see us as an 8,000 resident community. I see us at a population at 140 population. And I say that because we have this huge industrial base that employs, that have a workforce that's huge. And so when you look at the total of people that's in here throughout the day, it's not just when we sleep, it's during the daytime. Just look at the numbers from the fire department. Look at the numbers from the police department. That really tells our story. So join us on October 7th. So an update on the fire chief search. And let me look at my notes, because I want to make sure I get it right. So we are in our next phase of our fire chief search. And so we had 15 applicants that applied for the fire chief position. Out of that 15, 10 met all of the requirements and qualifications that we asked for. So we're getting ready to start our first round of interviews. The first interviews will be without me. The second interviews will be with the committee and myself. And if there's a third round of interviews, it's going to be with the Fire Police Committee Chair, Trustee Judy Miller, the administrator, and myself. And out of that, it's all based off of scoring. And so how one scores, it goes up to the next. So we get ready to start next week on starting the interview with those 10. Once those get weeded out, they'll go into a second round. And from that second round, they'll go to a third round if necessary. So we want to continue to be transparent in this process because from my perspective, I want the best for the Village of Broadview, but I also want the best that can lead the team that's in the fire department. And we got to make sure that we have strong and good leadership in the fire department as well. And so my thought process as we go through this, because, thank you, as we go through this, I'm looking to appoint the next fire chief on January 15th. And that's because we're getting close to the holidays. I got a heavy travel schedule that's coming up, and so I'm looking to appoint the next chief January 15th. But we'll continue to be transparent in the process as we have board meetings. So that's where we are with the fire chief. Now, I will address Ms. Morgan's comments. And so she was asking about the reports that the department head do on the third session. And when you came, typically we let we allow the department heads to give department head reports so that we're transparent in it. But at the end of that, we also say that, you can get that department head report in writing from the clerk's office. The reason why I asked the department heads not to give a verbal report that night is because we didn't have a quorum. We didn't start our board meeting until 20 minutes late. And I think that's just not considerate of my time or the public's time. And so we have to trim that conversation down so that we can keep the meeting moving so that we're not here 2 and 3 hours. This is a business meeting. A business meeting should be an hour, no longer than an hour and a half. And when we start late, I have to make a decision because I have to have consideration for my team. They are here every day. Some of them get here at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then they're here all day for a board meeting. And when the Board of Trustees cannot come to a board meeting that we have scheduled, that we pass a calendar every year on when we have board meetings, I think that's unfair to the department heads, and I think it's inconsiderate of our time for the public as well as my time. And so I just like to be real transparent in what that looked like for us. But if you would like a copy of the department head reports, you can go to the clerk office, and he's happy to share that. We don't have anything to hide. Okay, and then the other one was the fire plug, the yellow paint curve. Chief Martin and Director Ames can kind of coordinate what that looked like to get that done and see what that is. So, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. And so this is what I talk about when residents get engaged and participate in board meetings or just call our office to let us know if something don't look right or why is it like this. That's good feedback for us because we don't catch everything. We try to, but we're human, and we don't catch it all. But we can look into that and see if we can, make that right. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I appreciate that. So with that being said, I want to say good night, God bless you, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by, Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Shelby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned at 8:29 p.m. Thank you.